Well, good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am doing fine. I am on hour 87 of my fast. And I'll tell you, I'm not that hungry right now. I was hungry last night after swim. I was definitely hungry and was tempted to eat about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And I just like get to sleep and you sleep till like 7. I get up 7, 7:30. And it was like, okay, then it's another 12 hours. See, that's the psychology of it. Since I started at 7 p.m. Sunday, getting up is, so each night is 24 hours, right? 24, 48, 72 at 7 o'clock. And then you go to sleep, you wake up at 7, another 12 hours you've gained. That's why if you can make the night, if you can make past dinner, you then get that 7, 8 hours of sleep, which is easy to fast when you're sleeping, right? You get up to pee a lot, but that's because you're just drinking. Um, so I got up to, so that's where we're at now. And I'm like, okay, I probably should eat now. But I had a bet I wouldn't eat. I got my coffee, I got my water, and your body just adjusts to it. Your body my face is thinner, my stomach's, thinner, which is kind of what I was doing it for, but I'm really doing it for health. Your kidneys, your liver, your heart, everything gets healed by the autography after 18 hours. That's why when people fast, I kind of say, can you just don't eat the first day and then you're into the 40 hours and the autography takes place, especially if you're injured or you're sore, and your body needs to heal, like a broken arm or broken leg. Your body heals it, right? So this would speed up the process, but it heals bad cells, it heals bad tissue. If your foot's bothering you, if your hand's bothering you, your eyes are bothering you, it fixes all that. So that's really the point of the fast. I do it for health. However, sometimes if I have too much pumpkin pie for Thanksgiving or chocolate cream pie for Christmas, uh, and you want to treat yourself. I mean, I'm pretty stingy on my diet. A lot of eggs and steak and chicken and a lot of veggies. I'm always grocery store twice a week, once for veggies and once for meat. And that's what I eat. And I really don't like eating out, but I do, because who the hell knows how they prepare it? I'm cooking everything in extra virgin olive oil, chicken, my steaks. I know what I'm cooking with, my cayenne pepper, a lot of very healthy ingredients. Well, you go to a Coney Island and you order an omelet, what the hell are they? You're getting eggs, but what are they cooking it with? And then I have pita bread instead of regular bread. And I never have, and the hash browns I'll have, but again, how are they cooking it? So it's hard going out. I'll get a hamburger. What is it? At least if I go to my grocery store, I know I'm getting probably pretty good quality hamburger, and it's $6 a pound. So I get 3 pounds is $18. I'm not spending. I'm not. I go to Culver's. It's 7.50, and it's not even a quarter pound. It's like, what the fuck? Now it's probably not bad considering hamburgers are like $10 if you go to a regular restaurant. But I don't think Culver's is a regular restaurant. Sort of like McDonald's. For the $7, I expect more. I expect a half pounder because that's what I get at the Coney Island for 7.50. I get a half pound burger, and that's what I need. I don't want to walk out of the have dinner at Culver's and I'm hungry. Yeah, let's go get something to eat now because I went to Culver's and I had this little thing of coleslaw or broccoli or chili and the burger, and I'm still fucking hungry. They charged me for a cup. It was unbelievable. There was a cup of water. I said, well, "Can I get a large water?" Because I like drinking a lot of water. And so the guy tried to charge me $3 for the cup. So told him to fuck off, and I haven't been back since. No, cups are not $3. You're paying for the pop. That's the $3, not the cup. Otherwise, I'll bring my own cup. So if I bring this to a Culver's, right? So I can just fill it up with pop and water and lemonade and all that for free because I got my own cup. I'll do that. All right, let's check our gold and silver prices. All right, we're doing nice. Silver back to 90.65, gold back up to 46.13. Game planning yesterday, we got up to 93. Let me see. I always tell my buddy where we're at. So we're at 93.11 yesterday afternoon and about 93 last night. And I go into my spreadsheet and I update it. I go, okay, we're at 93 times all my silver. This is how much it's worth now. And it keeps going up and up and up. So then at 11:30, it goes down to 89. And I go, what the fuck? I did another margin call, apparently. So they're trying to do it. Silver staying at 46. It hasn't really gone down much. Gold 46.40, as I told you, and then it'll mess around 45.98. Back now, it's back to 46.20. These games that they play are so illegal and so stupid. It's hard to imagine how dumb these bankers are. But anyway, so we had 93. So what? They did a margin call. So what does a margin call do? What is a margin call? These idiots are buying options on margin, which means I'll put down $100, but get $1,000 worth, and the $900 is margin. So I'm not really giving you 1,000, but I'm getting silver worth 1,000 in my contracts and my options. And they say that's fine. You can put 10% down. You can put $100 down. And then you hope that silver goes up and then you sell it. You take your profit. These are called idiots, right? And so what they're doing with the margin calls is saying, no, you need 20% down, not 10. Do you have the other $100? And most people don't. So that forces them to sell. So I have to sell my position because I can't cover the margin. And therefore, the price goes down, which is their goal. Why? Because they're idiots. There's no reason to lower the price of silver. It's for for the army so they can buy silver cheaper. Believe me, the amount of silver they buy and the amount of money they have, it doesn't matter. So as we see, silver's making a nice run back to 90.84, gold 46.13, and we're at 10 o'clock, so beware. I've noticed this. There's a drop at at 8 o'clock at night. Seems to be a drop, and there seems to be a drop. Here there's a drop just after 8, and then we know the 10 o'clock drop, but it doesn't always drop, and sometimes it doesn't drop much. If we get past that, then we got to worry about a noon drop and occasionally a 2 o'clock drop, which are just basic bullshit. Banks putting in a big short. Why? Are they still controlling the price? No. What the fuck are they doing? They're idiots. They're seeing the price go up and they go, oh, it's too high. I'm going to short it. And it works for about 5 minutes. And then China and Russia come in and buy it. But they're doing it when Russia and China are sleeping. Because Russia and China, the time in Russia now, it's about 5 o'clock at night. That's why I take Daria's text. I don't mean to interfere with the class, but it's like her 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And so I want to take him, and then she's going to sleep soon. So she's saying, I'm home, I'm having dinner. And that's our conversation. So I was listening. So I got an email yesterday from one of our classmates, Paul. So let's look at a market. So I showed that a lot of cars were not sold, which means there's heavy supply in the market, which means there's no demand for them. Because if there was, there wouldn't be, let's call it 1 million cars available on the lots. So why don't we quickly play this video just for 2 minutes. So 965,000 unsold cars. What happens to new cars dealers can't sell? Let's watch this for about 5 minutes, and then I will get into his answer of his question, which is, what do I do? I want to buy a car. Or
7 months. That's caustic. We have 900 dealers in the country that are actually losing money. You walk onto a dealer lot, and there they are. Rows and rows of brand new cars gleaming under the sun. $50,000 stickers, $70,000 price tags. Some have been sitting there for 6 months, a year, maybe longer. According to CarEdge, there are over 48,000 Jeep Grand Cherokees sitting unsold across America right now, with an average of 167 days on dealer lots. That's more than 5 months. The Jeep Compass, 222 days. That's over 7 months of a brand new car just sitting there. So here's the question nobody wants to answer. What happens to these cars that never sell? Now let's talk about why this is happening. We all know car prices are completely out of control right now. The average new car costs over $50,000, more than many people make in an entire year. And these aren't rare cases. Right now, the Volvo XC90 is sitting at 201 days of inventory. The Lincoln Nautilus, 207 days. The Lincoln Corsair, 199 days. These are $50,000 to $70,000 luxury SUVs quietly rotting on dealer lots for 6 months or more. And it's not because people suddenly stopped wanting cars. It's because people can't afford them anymore. Yet manufacturers keep building them like nothing's wrong. So why hasn't the market corrected itself? Because the system is rigged. When cars sit too long, dealers don't just slash prices and take the hit like a normal business would. Oh no, they get creative, really creative. By the end of this video, you're going to see exactly how unsold inventory gets quietly disappeared through a 9-tier system most buyers have no idea even exists. Let's expose it. First, you need to understand something. Dealers don't actually own most of the cars on their lot. Yeah, you heard that right. All those shiny new trucks and SUVs, they're financed. It's called floor plan financing. Basically a loan where the bank or the manufacturer's finance arm fronts the money for every car delivered to the lot. And here's the kicker. The dealer pays interest on that loan every single day the car sits there. For the first 60 to 90 days, the manufacturer covers that interest as a courtesy. But after 90 days, the clock starts ticking loud. We're talking $25 to $50 per day in interest charges per car. So if a dealer has 200 cars sitting past 90 days, they're bleeding $150,000 to $300,000 a month just in interest. No sales, pure loss. And if that car hits a year, the bank demands what's called a curtailment payment. That's a big chunk of the principal, like $5,000 cash up front just to keep the car on the lot. But let's talk about why so many new cars aren't selling in the first place. It's not just the price, it's what you're getting for that price. Modern cars are absolutely
all right, first of all, it is the price. They're there because the market will not pay. There is no market for them. So again, this is what we'll pay for it, and this is what they're selling it for. There's no market here. So it's exactly is the price. The other thing he's going to say is, well, it's you're not getting the same amount of quality. Is doesn't matter. It's the price. It's always the price. So just judging what's happening, just looking at it for 5 minutes, the banks are in trouble because they're not going to get their loans paid back, because if they can't sell the car, I can't pay back my loan. So the banks are fucked. The dealership's fucked because they're paying all the interest. Ford and whoever else manufacturers are fucked because they're paying all this money and they can't get it back. They can't get the revenue. Now, I thought the dealer did pay for them. I'm shocked that the banks would keep financing it, but you can see what's happening. There's no market for it. Okay, let me answer. John C., good day. Hello. They want $700 a month for cars. Well, that's not every car, but is there a market at $700? No. I think I paid $500 on my Camry in 2018 at, I think it was 2%. But They wanted more, and then I talked them into a 6-year loan instead of a 4-year loan to get the payment down. But I knew I was going to pay it off after 2 or 3 years, and I was working at Mercedes, which is why I did it. I knew I had a good job, paying a lot, so I wanted to buy the new car. My other one was a '03 Camry, which I sold in 2018. So I basically got 15 years out of it, and it was like, okay, it's time. The interest rates are 0. They're not going to stay there. So I better sell it. I better buy the new one now. And I'm working. So that's exactly what I did. I think my payment was $4 something a month. And I think I paid like $500-600 a month. And it was like, okay, let's pay this off. And I think the 6-year loan I paid off in maybe 2.5, 3 years. And that was it. But I locked it in at fixed. You should always, if you get a low interest rate, you should lock it in at fixed, because you can see the variable rates keep going up and up and up. Now, they're talking SUVs here. I assume this is true on most cars. It shows there's no SUV market, and they're too expensive. So people, it's like anything else. You want to make Oreo cookies $5.50 for the pack, and nobody buys. So what do? You put it out two for $5 or whatever. You lower your price because there's no market. So the guy doesn't, so I got to question this guy saying, well, it's not the price. It is the price. If these were $10,000 a piece, they wouldn't be there, right? So what the dealer's doing, now I didn't watch this whole video. I just was looking to see that all these cars aren't sold. Well, that's a problem. And it's going to affect the banks, and it's going to affect the car companies. And you're making a product nobody wants. What kind of business is that? You're trying to sell it at $60,000. There's no market at $60,000 for SUVs or Lincolns. Okay, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to buy a Mercedes at $60,000. But it's still, I'm not going to buy a $60,000 car in these conditions. Now, we know the dollar is worthless, so really 60,000 is maybe 20,000. We know gold's going to the moon, so maybe we'll buy the car with an ounce of gold, or maybe 5 ounces of silver down the road, the way silver's running. And it's not stopping. It's just going to keep going. Again, it's the manipulation that pushes it back down. It's not anybody selling. It's all options. So just remember, gold and silver right now are all priced in options. We could all buy a ton, or we could all sell a ton, and then the price wouldn't move. So keep that in mind. It's the options. It's the banks. On the last leg, they're all going to go out because they have these loans. Nobody's buying a car because you can't basically afford it. The companies costs are going up, so they think they have to raise the price to make their money, and that's the exact wrong thing. That's Las Vegas, right? Well, we'll charge for parking and resort fees, and more for liquor, and more for hamburgers, but there's nobody there to pay for it. It only works if you're at the market. You've got to be at the market. You can't say I'm going to charge for parking. There's no market for it. Nobody wants to pay for parking. Well, the resort fee. Nobody wants resort. I'll go somewhere else where there is no resort fees. And so you go from there, and that's really that's really the point of it. So it's what we're willing to pay because we're the market. So let's watch a little bit more, and then I'm going to answer Paul's question.
With technology. Touch screens the size of TVs, subscription-based features, turbo engines instead of reliable, naturally aspirated ones, CVT transmissions instead of proven automatics. And here's the controversial part nobody wants to say out loud. Almost every new car now comes with built-in GPS tracking. I'm not talking about the navigation system you use. I'm talking about systems that track you. According to recent reports, 75% of new cars sold today have some form of cellular connectivity and GPS tracking built in at the factory. These systems monitor where you drive, how fast you go, how hard you brake, and they send all that data back to the manufacturer. And get this, a 2023 study found that all 25 major car brands reviewed failed basic privacy tests. Some were openly selling your driving data to insurance companies and data brokers without your knowledge. You think you're buying a car, you're actually buying a surveillance device on wheels that you pay $50,000 for. Why? To satisfy insurance companies. Because insurance companies love this data. They use it to calculate your rates or raise them without telling you why. In 2025, Texas sued Allstate for collecting driver data through apps without proper consent and then jacking up premiums. So,
Okay, well, we don't need to get into that. We already know our Facebook and Meta and these Zuckerbergs and Gates idiots are already collecting our data. So, this is why I really don't want the new stuff, because I'm sure my car, 2018 Camry, doesn't have that. So the guy at the dealership, oh, you need a new car. I'll never buy an electric car, so forget it. Oh, it's a hybrid. Yeah, I'm never buying a hybrid, so forget it. I'll just keep this car. It doesn't even have 100,000 miles on it yet, because I go to the club and back and the grocery store and back. So it's not a lot of miles I put on. John C. Who you got, TK, winning it all? I got Rams versus Buffalo. I don't know. Like I said, we'll get into that when we get into football. So the questions asked is, I want to buy, or his friend wants to buy, what exactly did they want to buy? Let's see. An Audi, a Q5 Audi. 2023, 23,000 miles. They have the car listed at 33,000, and he wants to get it out the door at 37,000. If it's listed for 33, why would you pay 37? So he's asking me how I would negotiate. Well, first of all, I'd look at other Audi Q5s and what they sell. I would look at the market. What is the market? There should be competition where I should be able to find it at 100 different places. Sort of like I do with baseball cards and gold and anything else I buy. I look around. The guy has the car, and as we just showed, there's all these cars that they can't sell. So what is the supply of this Audi? And so it's a nice car, low miles, 23,000. So I would check around the competition and see what other Audis are going for, first of all. Now, are there a lot of Audis that are not being sold? We just looked at SUVs, but these are Ford and Stellantis and crap cars, Jeeps. So there's a demand for Audi much greater than the demand for that. So that would be my first question. So then what is the competition selling it for? Is 36,000 a fair price? Now, again, just because there's a lot of SUVs that aren't being sold, are there a lot of Audis that aren't being sold? So after doing that research, I would then, because what we're looking for is the market. What is the market for Audi? So we would go and look around. We probably wouldn't go to an Audi dealership, although we might have to. We might check these Carvanas or whatever sites. And I don't know I've never bought from them. I go into the dealer because I want to look at the car. Interesting. They put these GPS things on the car so they can monitor it. I would try to get rid of that. I'd go to a mechanic and say, get rid of this shit, if possible. I don't even like that rear window cam, because I want to turn around, because there's a lot you miss just looking at the window. So once I see the market and I look at the competition, which you can probably get on a car site, and see if they're there not being sold. So we got to get apples to apples. It's like gold and versus silver versus. So once we see, okay, I can get this car for 30,000, or I can't. Maybe I can get it for 25. I don't know. What does it sell for? 45, 50, 23,000 miles, good shape. So after looking around at the competition selling the Audis, what's my best price I could get for it? Understanding we're in a recession, understanding the dollar's heavily inflated, I would I'd be careful buying it now unless I had to because of interest rates being as high as they are. It's not a good time to buy. Like I said, if you have to buy the car, that's one thing. If you would like to buy it, but you can wait a year, I would wait a year. The inflation will keep making the dollar worth something. So I would not. There's only two ways I would buy a car now. I would go on a 5, 6 year note because I want to pay them back in inflated dollars. So in 2 years, the dollars I'm paying them with are worthless. Sort of like Bobby Bowe. Bobby Bowe's got that $1 million every July, and the problem is what he's getting is worthless, right? So he's getting $1 million of monopoly money. But if you go into debt, you pay back with worthless monopoly money. So I would either get a note and pay back over 5 years, whatever they think, or I would wait and then buy it with gold. An ounce or two of gold should do it. Because gold will be 15, 20,000, and the car will come way down because the car is priced in monopoly money, right? So the money's 30,000 of this is worthless. So you're actually getting a car for nothing, basically. So I would look into that. So if I could wait, I'd wait. I'd buy it with gold, and then I wouldn't have any worry about interest rates. Um, Otherwise, I'd take a loan out and pay them in inflated dollars. Now, will the dollar go to zero? Will it go out? Well, it's at zero. Will it go out? I don't know. They'll probably just change it to USD2. They can try stablecoin, but fuck them. We don't want CBDCs. We don't want Bitcoin. So they like now there's Bitcoin, but we're not going to buy it. It's not money because nobody uses it. I can't go to the grocery store or to the restaurant and use Bitcoin. I can use silver at the restaurants, some of them who are smart enough to understand what silver and gold are because they think, oh, I'm getting it cheap and I'd be happy to get silver. It's, it's worth, look at what it's worth. It went from 30 to now it's 90. So the guy at the restaurant would be dancing going, I got he bought a rib dinner for $30 and I got the silver and now it's worth 90. So he's making money on the ribs initially and then that. Now, Kroger's right now won't accept it. They just don't, but they can't accept Bitcoin either. So we're still living in a dollar system, but the dollar isn't worth anything. But we know that most people don't. They say, well, I got $100, it's worth $100. So then it takes us to when will that end? I don't know. I don't think it's worth nothing, but they'll still use it because they're all idiots and they don't know any better. So they see a 20 on it and okay, good. You can buy a Coke with $20 soon. That's why we have the gold and silver. And yes, it is the demand for gold and silver make the price go up. I'm infuriated with these people that sit there going, well, it's really not gold going up. It's the dollar going down, and it takes $4,600 now to buy the ounce of gold. No, the dollar's gone. It's not going down anymore. It's gone down. And if that was the case, then everything would have gone up by that. So it's not the dollar going down at this point. The dollar is done. It's zero. Therefore, it is gold and silver going up based on demand, just like the cars. The demand for the cars aren't there. And that's the point. If the demand for the cars aren't there, there is no, then you got to lower the price because I got to sell it. All these dealerships have to lower the price to sell it. There's no other way around it. They either do that or they just fuck the bank over and the bank, and then they're out of business. So let me see. Let me send you something. I get these bullshit texts. All right, sorry about that. So you either lower if you can't sell it. So if I can't sell my Canadian club, if I'm trying to sell it and nobody buys it, what do I do? Keep trying to sell it at $100 or lower the price to where the market's at? I got to lower their price if I want to sell it. So I don't know what these car dealers are doing. If they won't lower their price, they're all idiots. I mean, there's no other thing. They owe the banks. If Ford pays them the first 60 to 90 days, okay, Ford's losing their ass, which we know. So you just got to be careful. I know Ford's going broke because they can't sell their cars because they're too expensive. They keep raising prices. These are called idiots. Ford, any company that raises the price to try to make money is idiots. The market allows you to raise prices. If there's demand for this, and I got hundreds of people wanting this bottle because it's 12 years old and in 1997, and we're in 2026 now, I can raise the price because I have demand. And that is the only time I may raise the price because I'm finding the market, right? The market's here. And so I'm selling it here. And then the market says, you know what? I'll pay more. I want this. I'll pay more. Boom. And what is that? Oh, yeah, that's this. So in this little world, what are we seeing? We're seeing the market go higher and higher because of the demand for this, and the supply is limited. So because the supply is limited, but the demand is high, what happens? We can raise the price. And that's what's happening. The price is going up because the demand is stronger than the supply. You can't just supply gold and silver. I was listening to this guy this morning, and these guys they put on these shows, you think they're smart. They're idiots. They're probably just stockbrokers or bankers who understand gold. They're like the idiots we talked about the other day, where they hear things, so then they think they're experts on it. Right. So if you listen to me, it helps, but I'm the expert. You're not, but you're not, but you know a lot more than most people. I'm explaining gold and silver, so now you have it. But that doesn't mean you're an expert. You're smarter than the average bear, but I'm the expert and you're learning. And as you learn more and more, then you can become the expert. But at this point, you're just that. But you can't walk around, but you do understand why you're doing it, and you can explain that part of the scenario. So again, in that type of an environment, in that type of market, yes, the price goes up. That's why we know the price is going to keep going up. The demand's not going away, and the supply can't get any better. So back to the question of what do I do? Find the market. What's the market for the Audi? What do they sell for at the dealership? Is $33,000 a fair price? And let's say I did all that and I went back to that guy, I would probably offer him 27,000. I really like the car, but it's a recession and there's inflation. So, I can really afford 27,000. Now he'll know about inflation, although he doesn't really know what it is. He thinks its prices going up, not the dollar going to zero or at zero. So you can play that game, and then it becomes, how badly does he need to sell it? How much demand is there for that Audi? Is there just you, or is there 100 people wanting it? And then he's got to figure out, well, if I can't sell it, what cost am I paying? You're paying insurance cost and maintenance cost, and you can't have other cars on the floor, and maybe you're not selling a lot. How badly does he need to sell it? Now that so I'd go in, or whoever you're buying it from, and I would kind of lean in and, how's business? what else does it? Now this is you. So maybe this is a guy. Maybe this isn't a store or a dealership. So how badly does he need the money? If he needs the money a lot, you'll sell it cheaper, right? I need the money. Yeah, I can get 100, but I really need the money. I'll take 75 for it, even though it's worth 100, but I need the money. So again, the demand, how badly does he need to sell it, plays a factor into it. So we will look at that. So is it a guy or a dealership? Is he having trouble selling? Does he need the money, or is it just, I'm going to sell it? And then is there a lot of people wanting it or just you? And then after all that, I would then offer him like 27,000, and he'll probably meet you at 30 if he needs to sell it, which he probably does. Who else? Why are you selling an Audi for $30,000 unless you need the money? If he needs the money, you can cut him down to 27, and then I would take a loan out and pay him with inflated dollars for a 4-year loan, because you got high interest rates. So you got to be careful with that. And then, and when gold goes up, you can then sell the gold to pay off the note if you want to. If you can wait, or, again, we're getting to the point where the dollar's absolutely worthless. The gold value goes to 15, 20,000. Things get priced. The prices get adjusted. The $500,000 house becomes in monopoly money becomes 50,000 in gold. So while 2 ounces of gold is going to buy your $500,000 house, because it's really 500,000 in monopoly money, not 500,000 in gold, because gold, as you can see, is worth 4,600 to the dollar. So it takes $4,600 to buy the gold. Soon it's going to take $10,000 to buy the gold, sort of as silver. It took you $25 to buy the silver. Then it took you 50. Now you're at 90. Pretty soon it's going to be 200, and then it's going to be 500. It's going to take $500 to buy that ounce of silver. Don't tell me the silver price isn't going up. If it's the dollar going down, you think the dollar has any more room to go down? No, it's the silver going up. It's based on demand. And if there's no demand for, let's say, silver, then the price would go back to $25. If it's not manipulated. This manipulation bullshit, we understand it, so we're fine with it because we own physical. You want to play this game, you own physical. And you can't be talked. They can't say it's worthless like Attack on Wall Street guy. That's why I show that, because he got fucked. He trusted his financial advisor who fucked him. And he killed everybody. So we don't want to kill everybody, not just yet. So we're looking at owning the physical and not hearing our $60,000 rent is worthless, or our stock went down from $200 to 20. So keep that in mind. And Trump said, "Oh, we're the most prosperous. We have no inflation." And it's like, he's just an idiot. He's just an idiot. He probably thinks there's no inflation. Again, if you don't know what it is and you're a Keynesian and you think it's prices, then you think there's no inflation. But we know it's the value of the dollar, it's money printing is the inflated. You're inflating the supply of money, and therefore it's worthless. And then what was I listening to? Anyway, so that's where these people think that there's no inflation, and you just, okay, fine, I'll buy more gold and silver because we know there is. I mean, it's you can't hide it. It's money being printed, so that's not going anywhere. All right, let me read what Johnson's saying. Who I got winning it all? Rams and Buffalo. I don't know if the Rams will get over the Bears because of the weather. I just looked. It's like 5 degrees there, and you're a passing team. How good is Stafford going to be in 5-degree weather? The Bears' pass defense is okay. I don't know how much pressure, though. I think they'll try. Hopefully, they don't play this weak zone again, but it's 0 degrees, and the way the Bears play. So I don't know if the Rams get by the Bears. Do I think they're the best team? I do. I think Seattle beat them was bullshit. You can't throw an incomplete pass and get credit for a touchdown or a 2-point conversion. That is bullshit. Well, it was incomplete, so let's give them the 2 point. No. That's absolutely bullshit. That is not the intent of the rule. The intent of the rule is if you throw a backward pass and the guy doesn't catch it, it's a live ball, but not if it's deflected forward. That's not. You can't get 2 points on an incomplete pass. Sorry, that's not the name of the game. So that was bullshit. But this is the problem. You got the Rams in 0-degree weather, who's a passing team, whose defense is falling apart. Normally, this is a lock over, but I don't know. So the best team, I think, is going to be I think it's going to be Denver. I think Denver beats Buffalo. Denver's now a 1.5-point favorite. And again, my timing, and I'd already bet Denver is the dog. So you need to adjust. That's why you need to react quickly when I do this, because I know that Denver was going to, I think they'll be a 3-point favorite. Do I like Buffalo 9? Not as much as I like Denver as a home dog. So Buffalo, I don't think is the best team. They don't have the best defense. I don't think they can get by Houston with that defense. It's a bad matchup. New England, they split with. They did beat New England and put 35 up on them. But I think Denver is the best team, and I don't know why they get no credit. They got the best coach in Sean Payton. You got Bo Nix, one of the best quarterbacks. I don't know why everybody hates Bo Nix. Because he played at Auburn and he sucked. Maybe that was the offensive coordinator and the fact they had a bad offense, because he looked damn good at Oregon for 2 years. Oh, he's older. Oh, well, that really bothers him. Like Mahomes isn't in his 30s. Like, give me a fucking break. I think Denver is at home. I think they'll beat Buffalo. And then whoever they get, Houston or New England, I think that'll be a good game. If Houston had a quarterback, I would say Houston with that killer defense. New England against Drake May again. So I think it'll be Denver, and I think then, judging by the way it is, Seattle should beat the Niners, who have half their teams out. Yeah, they get Fred Warner back. Okay. Now they do have Darnold. So I think what the coach is doing is we're going to run the ball and not let Darnold throw 3 picks and get blitzed, because I'm sure he knows Darnold's a choke. How can you not know Darnold's a choke? So I think it's Seattle. And does Seattle beat the Bears? I think they do with their defense. I think Seattle's defense can beat the Bears. I think the Bears would struggle with Houston, and they would struggle with Denver, and they would struggle with Seattle. They would beat Seattle. They would beat San Francisco, and they probably beat the Rams. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Again, you got 0 degrees in Chicago, so I don't know that the Rams can get it. But it doesn't mean I don't think the Rams are the best team. But going in as a wild card, because they got fucked on that 2-point conversion, then they were so out of it, they lost to Atlanta. So because of that, it didn't matter. Seattle beat Frisco. They'd have got the 1 seed anyway. So the Rams got robbed out of the 1 seed. There's no question. But can they win there? Now, if they can win there in Chicago, then they go to probably Seattle. I can't imagine the Niners beating Seattle, but Darnold is Darnold, and you can't trust him. So when we look at the whole team, the best team is Denver, and then the best team is probably the Rams, but in this situation, I'm going to go with Seattle. So I think Seattle and Denver is probably your Super Bowl, and that'll be an interesting one. Because I don't know that New England's going to beat Houston. That's a killer defense. I mean, you held Aaron Rodgers to 70 yards or 80 yards. That's Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf. The running couldn't move. The defense couldn't win the game. We've seen it with the 85 Bears, didn't we? Nobody could get a first down on them. Now, they had Jim McMahon and Peyton. I mean, that's the team you want, right? That killer defense with a good quarterback and Walter Payton. But we only have it kind of with the Rams, but their defense is getting weak. So the best defense is Seattle with the 14, and then Houston, New England with 18s. Now that's last 5. So those are the best defenses. So that's why I think it's Seattle. And then I think it's now if it's Seattle, the Rams could beat them. If it's Denver, Houston could beat them. If Houston can beat New England, they can beat Denver. But at this point, I'd say it's Denver, Seattle are the two because they're the 1 seeds and they're at home and not too much weather. And the weather's going to hit the Rams. The Bears just beat Green Bay, who run probably a similar offense, explosive offense. They had a pretty good defense, but Micah Parsons went down. The Rams, their defense is gone. They gave up a ton to Atlanta. They gave up a ton to Seattle. Forget the 2-point conversion. They still gave up 40 points. And last week they gave up 31 to Carolina. So the Bears are going to score early and often on them. I don't know if they can beat them. But Seattle's defense will come. Seattle's defense can beat the Bears. They should beat the Niners. They beat them 13-3. I think you're looking at a same Army-Navy game. Keep the ball off of Darnold's hands. And we're going to run Walker and Charbonnet. So they know you're doing what you're doing in your new car. They track everything. Okay, is it legal to track the car? I doubt it. It's privacy issues, right? Nobody should know what I'm doing unless I tell them. So I don't like that. Like I said, I would go to a mechanic and try to disable that. Right? I think that's bullshit. I won't buy a new car, and that could be another reason nobody's buying these cars. Not only are they expensive, but if they're tracking me, fuck you. Where are we living here? Nazi Germany? This is bullshit. We all have to goose step and say Heil. That's ridiculous. It's for the insurance. Bullshit. It's for the government. The insurance can see. That's why they say, how many tickets do you have? Do you have any speeding tickets? Do you have any accidents? That's all you get from me. So you can check that. No accidents, no tickets. That's all you can check from me. Otherwise, go fuck off. So that's the whole point of it. So no, it's not legal. That's probably the biggest reason they can't sell the cars, because who wants to have a tracker on them? What is this, 24, Jack Bauer? I mean, no, you don't want a tracker on it. So I'm sure that's, so I'd be buying a used car that doesn't have the tracker, that maybe has a CD player still in it, then I would. That was the biggest thing I didn't like, is I lost my CD player when I went from my 03 Camry to my 18 Camry. What the fuck? How am I going to listen to music? So now I put on my YouTube and I go to my music and I play that on Bluetooth. What a pain in the, then it's the commercial. Then if the song ends, the commercial, you got to skip. Let me get into a car accident trying to find a skip point on it. Gee, it's a nightmare. And I had a lot of CDs that I kind of liked. Anyway, it's just fucked. So I don't think it's legal. I think it's an invasion of privacy. I think in our Constitution, which we don't use, you have the right to privacy, right? Bobby Bowe, I don't know. I saw him. He was on here a few months ago. We were talking football, and I haven't seen him then. I don't know. He hasn't been on like he used to come on every day. And we would talk LSU, and we talked about his $1 million contract. And I told him he's getting fucked. He should fire the agent, and that he should ask for gold. And he said, well, I asked the Mets, but they wouldn't give me gold. And I said, well, as soon as you get it, turn it into gold, because it's not worth anything. The $1 million you got in 2000 and the $1 million you're getting today are not the same animal. That's what the inflation does. It's maybe worth 10 grand now. So I would sell it for $1 million of gold and go from there. So no, Bobby Bowe, I don't know. I assume he's around. We're supposed to meet at Capitol Grill when gold hit 3,000. So gold was sitting at 22, 2,300. And okay, let's celebrate. We'll go to the Capitol Grill. I'm in Detroit. There's one. And I think in Tampa, there's one. and then he's gone, and so we can't confirm the reservation, and then it's 4,000, and now we're at 4,600 going to 5,000. So we're missing all our Capital Growths. If you have enough gold and silver, this is your job. I mean, you're making money tax free. There's no tax on this. So when this goes from 30 to 90, I don't pay a nickel of tax. Why would I? I didn't sell it. I have it. Its value went up, but that's it. So I'm worth more because I have the assets, but I don't owe tax on it. And I'm not sure I owe tax on it when I sell it. If I only sell 5 or 10 ounces, I'm not going to pay a tax on it. Like I said, it's like playing poker. So if I make 10 grand on silver and I make 10 grand at the poker room, or I make 10 grand at blackjack or craps, I'm not paying tax on it. There's no tax you pay on it. Okay, so who is this? All that. I'll just call you all that. I think Seattle -7 is in a division rivalry game is too high, especially Darnold as a wild card. I don't think he is consistent enough for them to be a 7-point favorite. Well, you got to look at the situation. The Niners are very injured, so you must take that into consideration. The Seattle defense is 14. Now, the Niners were able to get 23 on Philadelphia. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to score a little, but last time they played, it was a 13-3 game. Now, the reason we play teasers is because we've already done our research back in the 70s and 80s, figuring out how to play teasers and the reason we play teasers. And in this case, I would play Seattle -1. I think they win at home, and I would bet it on their defense. And if we watch the last game, the coach didn't let Darnold choke and throw all the interceptions. So they ran the ball on Frisco, and I don't see a lot of that changing. Philly marched down the field, but Jalen Hurts is so bad. Now, is Darnold better than Hurts? I think they both suck. Darnold in big games chokes, I agree. But the Niners are so injured. However, the key wild card is Purdy and McCaffrey. However, they lost Kittle. So if I'm playing the game, my sense is as Seattle -1 wins because of their defense. However, I play total in this game. I don't play the one, but I like the one. I think Seattle -1 wins, but it could be like the Philadelphia game. And the Niners, I don't like the coach very much. I think if you bet the Niners, you're betting McCaffrey. But without Kittle, no Ayuk, no Deebo Samuel, it makes it tough. Pearsall stinks anyway. He's not a problem, but they just don't, they're playing with, free agent wide receivers. And Seattle, the problem with Frisco, Seattle's going to run it down their throat like they did. And then the Seattle defense will pressure. McCaffrey probably won't do it. So it's a bad matchup for Seattle. I agree with the 7, but I would probably go Seattle -1. Can I trust the 13? Maybe it's 13-3 again, but I like the total. It's a much better play. Nick, hi, Nick. Yeah, all is well. Loving the gold and silver prices. It hasn't even started, Nick. Wait till it really kicks into overdrive. But keep your Rolex. That's a nice little piece. That's why I warned you about Joe Burrow. Until he wins Super Bowls, as great as he is, he's been injured. I'm sure his card values don't have much. You're better off just buying Mantle and Mays cards and going after Tom Brady rookies, Tana rookies. Buy Joe Burrow because his cards, but I wouldn't pay a lot for him yet. And his values are probably sunk. But again, I'm still calling for at least $25,000 gold, because why would it go down? It's needed. And then silver, it's needed for the industrial, but the dollar's inflated. So when Trump comes out and says there's no inflation, he doesn't understand it. He's a Keynesian, I guess, or if he's even that intelligent. I don't think he's smart. He's a real estate guy. His casino went bankrupt. He's gone bankrupt several times. He's just a kind of a bully. I think he's really insecure, and I don't think he knows what inflation is. So we know we can't listen to Trump that the inflation's, no. The inflation's, as I said, you can't really measure it. All you can measure is there's $150 trillion out there and no market for it. So it's worthless. All the BRICS countries have gone gold-backed currency. They just don't publicize it. So that happened in January, or it's happening now, or very soon. It's definite. And then Russia's doing it in February. And so the demand for gold's there, and the price must be very high. Well, there's not enough gold to have a gold-backed currency. Yeah, there is. At 20,000 an ounce, there's enough gold to have it. And again, it's an option. You don't have to have the gold-backed currency. But the best time in the world was when we're on the gold standard. The Romans, they were on the gold standard. They seem to do okay. They seem to have enough coins to have everybody go to the Appian Way. You've had British, 1814 to 1914, gold standard. They seem to do okay. The U.S., basically 1776 to 1914, we're on the gold standard. We seem to do okay. And actually, we seem to be shitting it up now because we're not on the gold standard. That's how you can't just print the money to death and it loses value. And it happens all the time. And I don't know why these people still do it, but that's their problem. And you can see, so silver at 90, it's just, all they can do is margin calls to try to lower the price. And that lasts for about 5 minutes. And then the Russians and the Chinese buy it. And we don't care about margin calls. Once we get a physical price from China and Russia, it'll never come down for margin calls. We don't care. We're not playing margin. The only people that play margin are the banks, the insurance companies, the pension funds, who are doing all this on margin. We're not. I bought this. I paid $30. I paid $60 as a 2-ouncer, and that's it. There's no margin. I don't have margin. So what they do is they're forcing them to sell, which forces the price down because there's more selling than buying. But then all the buyers line up and go, okay, now we're going to buy it. So I bought it at 88 when it was 93. Yes, and now I didn't, but people did. And I'm sure they know the margin call is coming, and then boom, and now it's back into the 90s, probably back to 93, and then probably to 100 very, very soon. Today's Thursday, maybe by Friday, we'll be at the $100. Now, one thing I noticed on eBay, I will take you there. So I'm looking, what's the silver price? I'm looking what the prices are, right? These are my Highland Mint ones because I got a lot of I got 38 Highland Mints. So I can get a Kobe. I got this coin, $200. Now there's no bids on it, but the idea. So let's look at 1 ounce silver rounds. So here's a 1 ounce silver round. It's not the dollar that says $2 on it. $109. Okay. Here's another one. $109. Here's $103. Here's $94.50. Here's $101. What's the value of a 1 ounce round of silver? Well, it looks like it's $100. So COMEX is sitting at 90, like 90 right now, but we know that's not a real price. These are real physical. However, they're using the COMEX price to price it, not the real physical price. So once we get that, and we're going to get it from the Russians and the Chinese and the Saudis, they're having these physical markets. Once we get that, you're going to see 3 zeros, not 2. I can say 100, you're going to see 1,000 because the demand is huge and there's very little supply. Now, yes, there's people having it, but they're not selling it. I'm not selling this. This is a 2 ouncer. So let's say it's a 1 ouncer. I'm not selling it for $100. I won't sell it till maybe 1,000 unless I need to sell it. There's no, and I'm really not buying this to sell. We're buying it, wealth preservation, our assets, just like the Rolex you got, Nick. You're not really looking to sell it. You bought it because you like it. You're going to make money on it, but you didn't really buy it to sell it. Oh, now it's worth 25,000. I made $5,000. I'm going to sell it. No, we don't buy these assets to sell. It's not an investment like that, like a stock. This is money. This is gold and silver. You're going to be so rich from this, but it's really the fact that you won't lose all your money in dollars. And it's just something that you hold. It's not, you're buying it to hold because you're getting out of this. You're buying it to get out of this. And the Europeans are buying it to get out of this. That's why you're buying it, first and foremost. Then the value goes because as people get into it, they force the price up because the demand's there, but you can't increase supply. People don't seem to get it. I was watching this Grant Williams guy, and he doesn't seem to get it. Well, I don't know why. Gold's been around a long time, but it's just, gold is worth something because it's what everybody wants. It's the most wanted asset, and it's limited, so the price never goes down because you can't print it. That's why everybody wants gold. It's been around before the Romans. I think the Aztecs or whoever were into it. So once they found gold, it's a value because everybody wants it. The demand is why, and you can't print it, which is why it's been around for 5,000 years, which nobody seems to be able to understand that, which I'm wondering if they're all idiots, including Egon, who really doesn't understand that you can't print it is why it's been around so long and it doesn't collapse. Why would it collapse? Very limited, very beautiful. Everybody wants it. So high demand, low supply. Why would the price ever go down? And as long as the demand's there. So the U.S. tried to get rid of it by saying it's a pet rock, and it just like the other idiot I showed you the other day, Mr. Wonderful, but not Paul Orndorff. And he's got to steal the name, right? And then he says, well, it just sits in the ground or it just sits in a box. What kind of finance guy talks like that? What an idiot. All right, let's see. Giants are signing John Harbaugh. Does it matter? Is he any good? He's not good enough to get rid of Lamar, so I don't know. Nick, have a tough time trusting Bo Nix in his first playoff game versus Allen, who's been here before. Didn't Denver play in the playoffs last year, I believe? I believe they got out, but I thought they were in the playoffs. But you're not really trusting Bo Nix as much as you're trusting Sean Payton, and you're trusting the defense. And then, yes, Josh Allen's good, but they don't have a defense. So Denver will score early and often on that defense. Look at Jacksonville got 24 on them, and they were stupid enough to go at the 4-yard line. Oh, it cost them again. They went 4th and goal at the 4 and didn't make it, and they lose by a field goal. How stupid are these coaches that keep going, well, it's based on analytics, and they say I should go on 4th down and, without looking at anything else. These are not coaches. These are idiots coaching a team, as we're talking idiots who don't really understand it, but they kind of do. And they kind of, well, I don't know what I'm doing, but it says go for 4th down. I'll go for it. There's also defense. You punt the ball inside the 10 like Ray Guy would, and then you play defense and hold them, and then you get the ball back at midfield with a fresh set of downs, and now you're going to tire out their defense some more. That's the point of the not going on 4th down, unless it's the end of the game, and then you got to get it. In the first quarter, I got the ball at the 5 and it's 4th and goal. I'm kicking the field goal 1,000% of the time. It's the right play. Get your points. It's a fucking playoff game, and the goal of the game is to score more points. And you're probably playing really good defenses, so your odds in getting 1st down from the 5 are probably 0, especially like a Philadelphia or Seattle. Good luck going on 4th down against Seattle, even with McCaffrey. You're not getting it. And the better Houston. Good luck on that one. Yeah, I'm going to go on 4th down against Houston. Well, I might as well just send the defense out because we're not going to get it. Or New England with the very good defense. The good defenses, you're not getting it. The coaches are idiots. So I'm not really worried about Bo Nix. I'm more worried about Buffalo's defense, and I'm more, we could take Buffalo in a teaser 7.5 because now it's 1.5, and I don't know if I trust that. Denver could put a whoop ass on them. You got that strong defense. You're in Denver, and Yeah, but they play a lot of tight games. And Josh Allen, look what he did last week. So I think that's what'll happen, but I think Denver gets the win. I think they'll win a close one. Did I get a score? No. The only score I gave you is New England 17, Houston 14. That's your free play. Go under in that game with two killer defenses and two weak quarterbacks. You're not getting a lot of points. All that. I think Stafford shreds up that Bears secondary. I know it would be cold, but after you run around for an hour in pregame, you will be fine. Really? You're going to be fine in zero weather? No, I don't think so. It's pretty cold here, and I go into Target or Myers, or even when I go to the pool. I go to the pool, I take a hot tub, I take a sauna, and I get out. It's still fucking cold when I get out. I don't buy it's still zero. Um, for an hour pregame, you would be fine. I would spread the Bears out and let Stafford throw it 50 times. Well, again, it's cold weather. Can he handle the ball and can the receivers catch it? That's really the question. That's the problem with the cold. I take you back. Go watch the Niner Bear 1987, 80. Maybe it was 88. It was 80, 87 or 88. The Niners went to Chicago, and it was zero. You got Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and it was cold. And he hit Rice on a post pattern for a touchdown, like 70 yards, and that was it. And the Niners just ran the ball, and the Bears couldn't do anything. I don't think McMahon was playing, and they beat them like 20-0. A team like Montana. And then we go back to the San Diego Cincinnati 81 playoff game when it was 30 below, and Dan Fouts didn't do anything. So be careful in these freezing games to think it's 40 degrees out. It isn't. The Bears, yes, it's a weak defense. However, the Bears did beat Green Bay, and it was cold last week. It was about 15 with 15-mile-an-hour winds, thinking it's probably going to be more low scoring. So I don't know what to do here as far as it's an over game. And if it's 30 degrees, it's a lock over. They're going to get to 70, right? But in the 0-degree weather, I can't just ignore it and go, well, I'm still going to bet it over. Will it get over? It might get over. I think it'll be a close game. I don't think that. And the Bears seem to be able to keep you out of the end zone. So it's just the Bears on offense. Mighty Caleb took about trusting Bo Nix, but they seem to be able to come back. So we'll see. But I won't be surprised if the Bears win. In the teaser, the Bears are 9-0 at home, 16-2 in the teaser this year, beating Green Bay twice, which is very similar to the Rams offense. So it's not like they haven't seen it. The Lions, 19-16. We see the Lions offense. They got 16 on them, and then that was it. Katie barred the door, and then the Bears stormed back to tie it, and then the Lions won. They only got 19 on them with Jared Goff, who is no Stafford. The Rams must laugh about that trade. We got rid of Goff for nothing, and we picked up Stafford. What a brilliant trade! Oh my God! All that. I hope the Bears go for it on 4th and 4 or only 2 again. I think their 9 lives are out. Try to leave emotion out of it. We don't root for or against teams. We just bet the shit out of bad teams. We look at the defense, and the Bears in this game. If we look at this game, we've got the Bears with a B team with the 22 defense, and the Rams are an over team with the 27 defense. Carolina fucking put up 31 points with Steve Young. So that's the problem. How are the Rams going to stop the Bears when they couldn't stop Steve Young? So it's not just a matter. This is a very high scoring game normally. And how much is that? 0. And let's look at the weather. I love multitasking, but keeping concentration. Let's look at the weather here. I always hit refresh because even though the screen comes up, it doesn't necessarily refresh it. You're starting out with 19 and 13-mile-an-hour winds. Now we'll look at the wind chill. Feels like 6 13-mile-an-hour winds. Second quarter feels like 5 13-mile-an-hour winds. Third quarter feels like 5 13-mile. That's going to be tough coming out of the locker room again. The fourth quarter feels like 5 13-mile-an-hour winds. So the winds I don't think are a big deal because they had 15, 19-mile-an-hour winds. Wasn't a big deal, or it slowed down in the fourth quarter. You got the Rams traveling to Carolina and now are going home and now going to the Bears. Well, the Bears won at home and now are sitting. Yes, the Bears went for it on their own 32 like idiots, but they still won the game. Now they needed a comeback. So we'll see. We know they're capable of coming back because we saw it against the Lions. We saw it against last week against the Packers. We saw it against the Packers twice with the onside kick. Miracle. What is that? I hate when coaches put guys that can't handle the onside kick or punt returners that can't catch. What are you doing? You better put your best punt returner who's probably been in the league 5 years, maybe a safety who you're not really looking to run the punt back. You're just looking to catch the fucking ball. Same thing on the that. So it's not so easy. The Rams there and the Bears, yes, they will go for fourth down. They got the Bears are going to run the ball down the Rams' throat. And the Rams had a good defense, but doesn't now. 27 defense. You gave up 35 to the Lions. You gave up 40 to Seattle, and you gave up 31 to fucking Steve Young. So I don't see a lot of defense by the Rams. So the Bears are gonna. I don't know if they'll score a lot, but I would guess they'll stay in the game. I think they're a live dog actually in this game. Again, they're a home dog. They're very good at home. Cold weather won't be a problem to them. They run the ball more, and the Rams rely on Stafford, and we know he's a crybaby from the Lion days. And him going to Green Bay, they wouldn't win at Green Bay when it was cold. So I don't think he likes the cold weather. Anyway, but don't root against the Bears. Just be scientific in your approach. Look at the game. Look at the defenses. Look at what they did to Green Bay last week and then make your decision. I don't root for the Rams or the Bears. I make money. That's why I'm successful. I can bet either team, right? I can bet Denver. I can bet Buffalo. But where is the play? And that's why I look at all my little trends and look at my defense and my quarterback and the coach. So I'm betting Denver because of Sean Payton. Will I bet the Rams because of Sean McVay? I don't know. They struggle with Carolina. I think that Seattle game took a lot out of them because they got cheated. So I don't know. And I don't trust the Seattle coach more than I don't trust Darnold. All right. Nick, have Bills plus 10, Indy plus 2, Houston plus 13. Paying Bills can keep it close. Praying Bills can. Yeah, I went many different ways than you did. I have not played Buffalo as a dog. I did not play Indiana, and Houston in 13 should be good, but that's an under game. Can you not play totals in your little 3-team teasers? Houston, New England. I got 17-14 New England, a 31. The total is 41. I would have went under 51. That's a lock. That you have no problem with. Hey, Derek, do you think Drew Eller has chance to be real quarterback? Not in the NFL, maybe in the USFL. Maybe he wasn't even in college any good, right? Look at Penn State. They have Drew Eller. They go on a 6-game losing streak. He gets hurt. The backup comes in and lights it up. So, no, I don't like Drew Eller at all. I would take the backup per se. But no, I don't think he has any chance. McVay or Shanahan is made to hold the clipboard for 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I wouldn't waste my time with him. We'll go over the quarterbacks in a minute. No way he gets drafted in the first round. He's too terrible. I think a good enough can teach after how to play like they did Josh Allen. Well, I think he can be free agent somewhere. Are you going to draft him in the seventh? Well, first of all, he's still injured, right? So is he coming back? I think Hendon Hooker has a better chance if he got to Shanahan or McVay. Hell, he's got Trey Lance, McVay, and he sucks, but he's got him. He looked good against the Lions in preseason. That should have been a warning. The Lions sucked this year when they made Trey Lance look good and they made the Quinn Ewers look good and all these others. John C. Dante Moore is staying in college. Do you think he can improve? No, I think he sucks. Either you can play or not. Look at Daggio. Daggio was good at New Mexico State. And did he get better? No, he was just a good quarterback. Some of them get better, but Josh Love, when he was at Utah State, was great as a junior, sucked as a senior because they changed coaches on him. So you got to get into the right system with the right coordinators. Now, do I think Dante Moore? I almost drove off the road yesterday. Well, parked because we had a snowstorm here, and I'm driving in 5 inches of snow last night. But no, Dante Moore is not good at all. Watch the Indiana game. First play, pick six. Yeah, he can't read, so therefore he can't read defenses. So you can't overcome that. You can't all of a sudden learn defenses. So I don't like that. I would never draft Dante Moore in any round. I wouldn't take him as a free agent. He's not good. Oh, he can run. Oh, yeah, the running quarterback that never wins. Yeah, right. I remember that. No, I wouldn't. The best quarterback is Daggio Pava. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, fine, but they want to talk about Mendoza. Is he a first pick? Absolutely not. Where was he last year? At Cal. Did he do anything at Cal? No. Nobody knew him. Nobody cared. He had a decent, maybe 20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions or something. He did nothing. Here, he's in the team with the right system, and they can run the ball. They're very balanced. They have a strong defense. He doesn't have to worry about it, and they score a lot. So, is Indiana? Is Mendoza the number one quarterback? Yeah, just like Cam Ward is. They're trying to say, well, you got Cam Ward at Tennessee. Yeah, he looks really good. These guys are all on drugs. These ESPN guys and these radio guys. Cam Ward stinks. He was not a number one pick. He wasn't a first round pick. So let's look at who I would draft, right? Who's a good quarterback? I'll solve this very easily. Thoughts on Carson Beck? He's okay. If you're talking for the NFL, he's like Stenson Benson. Stenson Benson was better. He's a backup on the Rams from Georgia, leading him to 2 titles. He's better than Carson Beck. He doesn't see the field. He's Stafford's backup. Maybe he'll play when Stafford gets done. I don't know. Real quick, Miami 8.5 or Indiana 8.5, 47.5. Remember, this game's in Miami. It's a home game for them. They got a killer defense, so don't forget that. Now, Oregon had a good defense too, but not. They just, it was all turnovers. Okay, so here's my quarterbacks. Now, this is based on touchdowns thrown. Mendoza, 33-6. Sawyer Robertson of Baylor, love him, 31-12. Saying at Ohio State's just a freshman. Drew Messemaker, he went to Oklahoma State, 31-7. North Texas runs an offense. Messier at Duke is 30-5. Decent quarterback, not a first rounder. Josh Hoover, I like TCU, 29-13. Joe Fagdano at Connecticut, 28-1. I have no idea. And maybe he's a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Byron Brown at South Florida, went to, I believe, Auburn, 28-7. He's more of a running quarterback. Daggio Pava, our favorite, 27-8 in the SEC. Owen McCown, UTSA, 27-7 is okay. Sorsby of Cincinnati, 27-5. No. Ty Simpson, Alabama, definitely not. 26-5. Noah Fajita is decent, 26-5. Jennings, no way, 26-10 from SMU. Carson Beck, 25-10, throws too many interceptions, cost him 2 games. The Louisville game and the SMU were because of Beck turning it over. He did a little against Texas A&M. Had a good day against Ohio State and had a good day against Ole Miss, who really doesn't have great defense. But he did win the game, and that's what we're looking for. So, yeah, he's not a first rounder, but teams might take him in the first round because they need a quarterback. And it's over dramatized that why don't you just trade for Stenson Benson or get the guy from Tampa, who I think got traded, my guy, I can't think, from Florida. I can't think of him. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M, I liked until the last few games against Texas and Miami, and I'd say no. Let's see. Dante Moore, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. With that offense, no. Arch Manning, he's going to be the number 1 draft pick next year, 24-7. No. Arch Manning is more trying to run. I don't know the big thing about the running quarterbacks, why they want the running quarterback. Can they not block? Are they having struggle with offensive line? I don't know. It does keep the defense in a zone as opposed to man on man. We saw Drake May last week run for 30 yards because whatchamacallit went into San Diego went into a man on man, and everybody turned their back, and then he ran. Good luck. You're not going to do it against Houston with the 4-man defense. Joey Aguilar. Now, I like him. 24-10 for Tennessee. CJ Cart, Notre Dame, and he's a freshman. Braylon Braxton, 23-7 at Southern Miss. Maybe you take a flyer on him. Gunnar Stockton's went to Georgia. Oh, no, he's at Georgia. Maivia. I kind of like Maivia, 23-8, but not a first rounder. Let's see. Jalen Daniels at Kansas. I kind of like 22-7. He's not bad. He gets hurt a lot. I don't know how accurate he is. Morton from TCU, 22-4. I do like him. I don't know what happened in the Oregon game, but he's pretty good. Devin Dampier. I love Devin Dampier. This is the guy I would take in the first round, 22-5. So first round, Daggio, Devin Dampier, and maybe Mendoza, but not in that order. It's got to be Daggio first. He's a winner. He beat fucking Alabama. That's what you want. You want the guy who's a winner. So it's him, Dampier, and Dampier is very hard to tackle, very accurate. And then I'd go to, there's Morton here, and then Mendoza. Mendoza's not the first pick in the draft. And where's he going to go? To the JETSs or Oakland? Yeah, good luck with that. Let's see. Luke Altmaier, Illinois, 21-5. Desmond Williams from Washington. I would never take that guy. Here he's trying to, I get more money at LSU. See you later. Yeah, I don't want a guy. I want a guy with character and passion, not some bullshitter. So 21-8. Alagio from Hawaii, interesting, 21-9. He's pretty good, but it was his first year. Hauser from East Carolina, 19, maybe. That's about it. So those are the quarterbacks. You got basically 3. You got Devin Dampier, you got Daggio, and Mendoza, first round, not first pick. I wouldn't take any of them. The first pick's got to be the guy from Miami, right? Ruben Bain, first pick. Second pick, Bailey, Texas Tech, defensive tackle. Those are your first 2 picks. It's like Jalen Walker all over again. Jalen Carter. That's your first 2 picks. If you got any brains. So if Oakland wants a quarterback, they trade the first pick. If they don't want these defensive tackles, and move down to like 4 or 5, and then the other team will take these tackles, and then you get the booby prize, Mendoza or Daggio. I would definitely take Daggio over Mendoza. I don't care what anybody says. Daggio is the man. So again, we look at the line, and we got Indiana 8.5, 47.5. At Miami, I really don't. I don't see another 50-point game. They got three big turnout, pick six on the first play. The quarterback kept fumbling. You want Dante Moore? He kept fumbling in his own end zone, and then you got the block punt. So you got 21 points, but it was the momentum of the pick six, the first play. So Carson Beck's probably not going to do that. Well, we hope not. Indiana, strong defense. Miami, strong defense, but Miami put up 24 in Oregon, and Indy put up 38 on Alabama. So I do not play this. I do not. Miami at home could win the game. Will they win the game? I don't know. But Indiana's not all that. They beat Ohio State 13-10, and that's kind of, Carson Beck's a little bit more mobile than the Ohio State quarterback, and I hate their coach. I think Indiana wins, but they might only win by but I do think it gets points. I think it'll be 47.5. I think they'll get there. Even though they have both good and I locked the under in the Miami-Ohio State game because they both had strong defenses. But the way Miami scored on Ohio State is the key to this game. They put up 24 on that defense. They'll put up 24. Indiana will have no problem putting up their 24. That gets you 48. You only need 41. So that's the bottom line, Mr. Stone Cold. So, yeah, the quarterbacks, be careful listening to these morons in ESPN and on the BetMGM or all these other stations. Or apparently BetMGM is gone. It's back to the what is it? The one the football games are on. Geez, I can't think of it. Like Infinity or something. All right, let's look at our football lines. Apparently, Fred Warner will play for the Niners. I don't know that matters. So we start off Denver 1.5, 46. So Buffalo started 1.5. At that point, I played Denver plus 7.5, and now it's gone Denver 1.5. Total of 46 hasn't moved. I played the total also. The Niners, Seattle 745. That number really hasn't moved. Well, let's talk. Buffalo, a B team with the 21 defense and Josh Allen. They are they're 8-1 as a dog in 2 years. Buffalo, they're not a dog often. Denver, an E team with the 23 defense. Bo Nix, 16-1 in the teaser this year, 35-3 the last 2 years in a fucking teaser. That's why I took them as they're a very live dog. When they went favorite, I had a nice size bet. That's why I bet early. As soon as I see the line I want, I know it's not going to stay. It probably goes Denver -3, maybe 2, but I wouldn't be surprised. So if you want Denver, get them in at 4.5. If you want Buffalo, you can probably wait and get an 8. Just be careful. You're betting on a team with no defense and a stupid coach. All right, Seattle 745. So Seattle, an A team with a 14 defense. This is last 5. And the Niners, an A team with a 22 defense. Now the Niners played Philly, who had a 15 defense and put up 22 on them. So the Niners, I think, can score a little, but now they don't have Kittle, which they really didn't have last week. He played a little bit. How the Niners scored those trick play, and then the last one to McCarr, they just did simple ends, and I don't know where Philly was. They weren't very pressuring Purdy like they should. Now we've seen Seattle playing 2 low-scoring games, 13-3. I think the difference here, Seattle with the 14 defense, is Seattle is going to run it down their throat. They're going to play Army Navy on them. They're going to run the ball, keep the ball off Frisco's hands. and then just dominate with they have a very strong defense, Seattle. So I don't see where Philly, I think, did, but they had Jalen Hurts, and I know, but they didn't run the ball. Barkley didn't run much. So I just think Seattle is going to take the air out of the game and run it. The weather there is fine. 40, no wind, no rain, nothing. So I just think Seattle's defense wins it. I think they're going to keep the ball out of Darnold's hands so he doesn't throw all these interceptions. He's got like a lot of interceptions. He's like 24-10 with interceptions this year. Now at 13, yeah, Frisco's probably, we'd like to think, a live dog if it was a normal team. But the fact with all the injuries, they don't have a receiver and they don't have their tight end Kittle. All they got is McCaffrey and Purdy. Makes it a little difficult. So we will see here. There's no real teaser trends on this game. The Niners are a terrible road dog. They were 1-6 against last week, and now they're 2-6 against, as they actually covered against the Eagles. But now they go to Seattle, and it's 13-3, and probably 13-3 again, I would think. New England, 40.5. Both teams are 8 teams. Both teams have 18 defenses. You are talking about very strong defense, very low scoring. I got 17-14 New England. I got this game under as a free play. You got Stroud against Drake May, and both teams are 17-1 in a teaser. So, yeah, Houston is probably a live dog, but I'm scared of Stroud. 3 fumbles on snaps last week. Are you kidding me? One, he didn't even know was coming. What kind of quarterback doesn't know the ball's coming? So you can't trust Stroud for sure, and I can't trust Drake May. He ran. I don't know what I was watching last week. Herbert ran 90% of the time, and May ran 90%. Nobody was throwing a pass, completing anything. But you had 2 great defenses, and now what do you have? 2 great defenses. So what was the score last week? 16-3. I don't think you'll get 19. And well, I got 31, but I probably won't get that high. But both are 17-1 in the dog, in a teaser. So, and Houston in 2 years is like, also like 33-2 in a teaser. New England, you can't go back 2 years because you didn't have Vrabel and you didn't have May. So this is really the first year. Or May was there last year, but you didn't have Vrabel. And our last game, the Rams, 3.5, 48.5. This keeps going 3.5, 4. The Rams, as I said, an over team, 27 defense. They don't have they gave up to 31 to Steve Young. They're not going to stop Caleb. If the weather doesn't bother Stafford, it won't bother Caleb. I don't think it'll bother Chicago as much. They played in it last week. They're used to it. The Rams are not. They played in the rain in Carolina, but they are in a dome. So an over team, 27 in Stafford. The Bears, a B team with a 22. So they score about 27, 28. And you got Caleb. They're 16-2 in a teaser this year. They're 9-0 at home. The last 2 years, they're like 21-2 at home, either favorite or dog. They play very well at home. They just beat Green Bay twice, who are very similar to Stafford, same passing type of offense. The Rams they gave up 35 to the Lions and 40 to Seattle and 31 to Carolina. I could understand the Lions. I kind of understand Seattle, but I don't understand 31 to Carolina. That's my only loser so far because I gave that out -4. Yes, we did lose the free play, Green Bay, Chicago under, but really the play there was by lock, was Green Bay and 7. So I'm doing the same thing I did last week. As soon as Chicago was a 1, I locked Green Bay and 7. As soon as Buffalo was a 1.5, I played Denver plus 7.5. As soon as I saw it, automatic. So that's what you have. So the teaser, 16-1 Denver, 35-3, 16-2 Chicago, 9-0 at home, 18-3 or something like that at home the last 2 years. Houston, 17-1, 32-2 or something like that. And New England, 17-1 in a teaser. We can only use 1 year because we got Mike Vrabel. And that's where I get into the variables. The variables change. You change coaches. Brought in defense. You got running. Look for Stevenson to run for a lot. if he can. You're not. Houston could stone them and just shut them out. I mean, that defense is just. I mean, look what they did to Aaron Rodgers. 30-6. Now, 14 of their 30 was a pick six and a fumble return. So they only really scored 16. So it was really 16-6. Steelers got down twice to the 5-yard line and had to settle for field goals. I think that was their offensive coordinator sucked. So you're dealing with really shitty offensive coordinators, really shitty defensive coordinators using analytics to call their plays. I don't know what I'm watching anymore. Football is getting terrible. You've got to be able to understand the quarterback. I cannot trust CJ Stroud. I don't know if I can trust May. I am beginning to trust Caleb, but I don't like him. Stafford, yes. Most of Chicago's scores are because they're running the ball down your throat. Purdy, I trust. Darnold, we cannot trust. Bo Nix, I trust. And Allen, I trust. And, of course, the number one is Mahomes, and number two is Burrow, who aren't there. Lamar, I don't trust. He's terrible. Everybody's saying that Baltimore is the best coaching. If I was the Baltimore coach, if they called me up and said, Professor, we need you, the first move I would make is I would have Huntley be my quarterback, and Lamar, you're going to learn wide receiver. You are going to be Hines Ward. You are not a quarterback. We are not winning with you. We are tired of losing with you. You're just not a quarterback, but you're probably a good receiver because you're fucking fast. I don't know if you can catch, but you suck as a quarterback. He's a below average quarterback. I'm not going to have him. Or I'm going to trade for Kyle Trask. That's the guy I was thinking on Tampa. Was great at Florida, and then he was great at West Virginia. I would give that guy a chance. It's just that Baker's been meeting him out, and the reason Baker's so good is Kyle Trask. But I believe they traded Kyle Trask to somebody. You got Hartman at Washington. I'd pick him up in a minute over Lamar. So you've got these quarterbacks. Stenson Benson, why aren't you getting him? He's sitting on the bench. He looked really good. He played last year in a game, and he looked really sharp. This year, Stafford's been healthy, but if Stafford goes down, I got to go to Stenson Benson. Not a problem. I'd be fine with it. So your free play is the Miami Indy. We're going over 48.5. I believe I gave that as free play. And the Houston under, that's like stealing the Houston under. You'll be lucky to get 17. How are you going to score? How's New England going to score in this game? Drake May running? Yeah, I don't think so. How's Houston going to score? CJ Stroud? The only score is going to come defense, right? A pick six or a fumble recovery. That Houston defense, what they did to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers can read the defense. Drake May can't. Drake May's in for a long day. Again, we bet defense. Look at the Baltimore Ravens. What was it, 2001? Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. And they had nobody at quarterback, Trent Dilfer. And they just shut down the Giants. They shut down whoever they played in the playoffs. They just shut everybody out. And that's how you win with the defense. The number one defense is won. The 85 Bears, the 81 Niners had the number one defense with Ronnie Lott. And then I think in 88 or 89, they had the Hacksaw Reynolds, Ronnie Lott defense. And they just stoned it. They killed Denver in the Super Bowl. The number one defense wins a lot of Super Bowls. And that goes to Houston right now and or Seattle. So if you're asking the best team in a playoff situation, it's the best defense. And in this right now, Seattle at 14, Houston and New England at 18. Denver's gone up to 23. Let's look at why Denver's gone up, because they've been a 17 all year. If you look at their whole year stats, they're like a 20. But what happened to raise their Denver? It was the Jacksonville game. They lost to Jacksonville 34-20, and they beat Green Bay 34-26. Otherwise, they beat KC 20-13. They beat San Diego 19-3. They didn't play. They beat Oakland 24-17. So really one game. Let's view all. It was just the Jacksonville game, and somehow Jacksonville got 34 on them. A lot of running, probably some turnovers. I don't remember the game, but we had the over in the game, right? So Denver's a sneaky over team. So Denver beat Cincinnati 28-3 without Joe Burrow. They lose 23-20 to San Diego. They lose to Indy 29-28 on that bullshit call. But then they got serious. They beat Philly 21-17. The Jets is 13-11. The Giants somehow was a 33-32 game. They weren't interested. Dallas 44-24. And that's why I'm looking at a higher scoring game here. The over is because of this, right? 33-32 Giants, 44-24 Dallas. They play Houston. They won 18-15. So I think it depends on the team. 10-7 with Oakland, 22-19 KC, 27-26 at Washington, then 24-17 Oakland. Then you got your 34-26 to Green Bay, your 34-20. They lost to Jacksonville, and then 23. So KC, they beat 22-19 and then 20-13 without Mahomes. So they're really not this killer defense that we thought they were. I mean, Oakland got 17 on them, and forget the 10-7 game. Houston 18-15. I think that's what we're looking at with Houston and New England. This Denver Houston 18-15. So if Houston plays a good quarterback like Allen, I expect higher scoring, but Denver scores 22 on Kansas City, 34 on Green Bay when they had Micah Parsons for most of the game, 20 on Jacksonville, 19 on San Diego. I don't know how many players played. Dallas 44-24, Philly 21-17. So you'll probably be in that neighborhood, but Buffalo definitely does. So Denver with a good defense is not a great defense. So Buffalo could be a live dog. And then I think we're looking at a total in the game. All right. So that be our NFL and college look. Again, what's a market? It's what somebody's willing to buy. You cannot just raise your price, as I've talked about steaks for a long time and ribs and any asset. Gold and silver go up because of demand. People willing to pay more for it, not because the dollar's going down. I'm very frustrated that these people who are supposed to be, smart, like Alligator McCloud and these guys, and they're really idiots. No, it doesn't go up because the dollar goes down. It goes up as anything else would because the demand is pushing it more than the supply. So the demand is why is gold going up today? Not because the dollar's going up. Okay, why did it go down? Because of the margin calls, not because people were selling gold. And now it's going up because of the demand for gold. People want gold like we do, gold and silver. We want it. We know it's the proper play. We know it'll protect us. So that's why we're in it. We know it's limited. You can't print it. So in a market, if there's strong demand, the price goes up because of the demand, not because the dollar's worthless. So then everything would be sky high. But that's not what's happening. I mean, some of the grocery stores are going up a little. Prices are up at the grocery store, but it's because the dollar is weak, but not the gold and the silver going up this much. It's not because of the weak dollar. It's based on the demand. So again, the market dictates if they're going to buy, the price goes up. In other words, this is worth $90. I can get 180 for it. But wait, Joe over here needs gold. Okay, I'm going to sell it to you for 250. And he's going to look at COMEX, but then he's going to realize it's a paper price. And then he's going to see there is no silver at the stores and the mines are running out. Yeah, I'll pay 250 for it. That's why I showed you eBay. The price is 90. This should be going for like $85 to $90 on eBay. It's going for over 100 because the demand's there. They can sell it for 100. And more people are waking up. As they see silver at 90, people should start asking the question, what's going on? The Bitcoiners, they're not even real. It's not money. It's not anything. It's not real. It's not a coin. We don't know if it's limited because we don't know what it looks like. We have to take somebody's word. It's limited to only 21 million. Great. It's a Ponzi scheme because it goes up. based on buyers. And then if there's no buyers, it goes down. Similar to gold and silver, but we actually can buy the physical. We can't buy physical Bitcoin. It's priced in dollars. So when the dollar goes to zero, Bitcoin goes to zero. And it's being propped up by Larry Fink and Trump and Michael Saylor are the only real buyers, and they push the price up, and it's not worth anything. You can't go to Kroger's with it; it isn't worth anything. Money has to be accepted. That is the key role of money. It's accepted by everybody. So I can give it to you, you'll take it. I can give you the silver. Believe me, you'll give me $180 for this. Yes, you would. It's 2 ounces. So at $90 an ounce, you would give me 180 for it. But Bitcoin, well, first of all, who has 100,000 or 90,000? But people won't take it. Like I said, I can go to the restaurant with the silver. He'll take it. I asked him about Bitcoin. He just laughed. I don't take that shit, and I don't blame him. So basically, Bitcoin's not real. Don't think it is. It's digital gold. When you hear that, you got to laugh. How can it be digital gold? What does that even mean? Gold's gold. Silver. How do you have digital silver? No, this is physical silver. We see paper silver, and we see how they're fucking that up. That is not digital. That's paper, which I don't know what the difference is. It's worthless because you can print too much of it. Anybody that trusts anything digital has got to be out of their mind. Just like digital steaks, digital clothes. What is that? Yeah, let's have some digital Canadian club. Let's have some digital phone. Yeah, no thanks. And this is where, just because of the new electronic age and all the AI bullshit, and I don't trust AI. If you're worried about your car monitoring you, believe me, the AI does 10 times more monitoring. Oh, they know who you're talking to on your phone and all that shit. Well, okay, maybe they do, but what am I going to do? Not use my phone? But that's why you go back to the Android phones. And that's why you do not buy a new car with a tracking device in it unless you can get rid of the tracking device. So I would talk to my mechanic first and say, can you disable it? And if he says, yeah, I'd get it disabled. I wouldn't keep it. But I don't want to be tracked. That's bullshit. What do we, like we're the Nazis now. So be very careful. They want to track us for some reason. Everything's into selling our data to the marketing people so they can hit us with the advertisements because they think we're idiots and we're just going to buy things we don't need because, oh, we got an ad for a Caribbean vacation. Oh, let's go. Or tuna fish or Coca-Cola, whatever the ad is. No. We're not stupid. So I gave you thoughts on Carson Beck. I think he's okay. These are the third, fourth round picks. Are they going to be any good in the pros? We don't know. He hasn't really showed me. Mendoza is not. He only beat Iowa in 1915. He struggled with an Iowa defense. He struggled at Ohio State 13-10. So no, I don't believe Mendoza is a first round pick. The fact that Daggio beat Alabama is why I like Daggio. And he crushed Tennessee at the end, right? It was a big game, Tennessee Vanderbilt, last game of the year, and he crushed them. He put up 50 points. What do you want to see? I mean, that's a big rivalry game. Teams were Florida couldn't score on Tennessee, and he did. So I don't know what you're talking about, why Daggio isn't the number one pick. And I just gave you a list of Hoover and some of these others who played at big passing schools that might be better. But again, this is a defensive draft. You got the Texas Tech guys, you got the Miami guys, you got the Ohio State guys. That's who you should be. Those are the best players. So fuck the quarterbacks, right? All that. I like the Canes plus 14.5 against Indiana in a teaser. I think Miami has the type of team to win the game outright. I think over is also a pretty decent play. Yeah, Miami being at home, again, you're being misled because, we've seen Indiana blow out Alabama 38-3. Who blows out Alabama, right? Then we see Indiana blow out Oregon. So everybody, they're going to blow out Miami. They got Reuben Bain. They're at home. Carson Beck's now Indiana's got a strong defense, but I go to more the Ohio State game, 13-10. Miami with an excellent defense also. However, I do like the over. That's your free play. I did go over in the game because Miami put up 24 in Ohio State. and Indiana is starting to settle down and not be as nervous and score. So I think they were real nervous against Ohio State, and they loosened up and they killed Alabama, and then they got all the turnovers against Oregon. So does Indiana have this really strong defense? But Miami scoring on Ohio State, and then Ole Miss doesn't have a good defense. But Ole Miss was able to score on Miami. So that leads you to believe this will be points. Miami in 14.5, I don't know. Indiana minus 1 or 2. It's a very tough game because we did see Miami come back against Ole Miss. But again, I take you to the Ohio State game. But Saylor, he's not that good of a quarterback, but he's on Ohio State, so everybody thinks he's the greatest things. He was up for the Heisman. He never should have been up for the Heisman. When you don't play anybody and you put up good numbers like Ohio State did, then you get exposed when you start playing good teams. They couldn't handle Miami. Miami's defense will get in, but after watching what Mississippi did, Indiana will have some ways. Indiana loves running the ball down your throat. I don't think they can against Miami. So I think there'll be more points. I think you're in the 20s in this game, maybe upper 20s. But you can't fuck with Reuben Bain. It's hard to but the fact that now I had the under in the Ole Miss game, and we won it by a half a point. We had under 58.5 in the teaser, and they ended 58. And I was shocked it was 31-27. Now, some guy asked me, he said, well, were you nervous at the end when they were throwing into the end zone? And I said, I wasn't even watching the game. I don't like watching total games. I like just putting it on, like late third quarter to see if I'm still in it or not. I did watch the San Diego New England game last week. I had it. I don't know if it was a lock under, but I had it played under very strong. And I probably did lock it under. And, here it is. And it's 6-3 going into the fourth quarter. So I said, let me get to the 10-minute mark. And it's because I was under 52 in the game. I couldn't believe the total of 46 in a San Diego New England game. What are they thinking? So that's why I'm curious, like the Seattle Frisco game at 46. I'm like, what are they thinking here? Are they out of their minds? 46 in there. Oh, well, Frisco will get 23 like they did on Philly. No, they won't. Seattle's going to make this an Army-Navy game. They're going to pound Walker and pound Charbonnet just like they did 2 weeks ago. It was all running. It was, let's keep the ball away from Darnold because we know he sucks. We'll just run it down their throats because we can do it. And we're going to just play a strong defense, a lot of pressure on Purdy. He's got no receivers to throw to. And we just key on McCaffrey, unlike Philadelphia. Philly looked like they weren't interested. They started out okay, and then they just seemed to lose interest. And that play when the receiver threw the ball to McCaffrey, and they were talking, the linebacker didn't stay with them. And he's like, why wouldn't the linebacker stay with him? And that was exactly the point. The linebacker didn't. You won't see that with Seattle. I mean, the only player that can beat you is McCaffrey, and he gets 2 touchdowns. How do you let that happen, Philadelphia? So Philadelphia, I hate their coach. I think he's terrible. I don't like the push tush, especially using the quarterback. And I don't like their offensive coordinator. Why didn't you fire him? The Lions at least had enough sense to fire theirs after 3 or 4 weeks. But now now it's like the coach is not as important as the coordinators, it seems like. We don't need a head coach. We need a good offensive coordinator and a good defensive coordinator because the coach doesn't do shit. And what gets blamed? Oh, the offensive coordinator at Philly, not the head coach. Why not the head coach? He was responsible. Why did you keep the offensive coordinator? Because the head coach probably doesn't know what he's fucking doing. They won the Super Bowl. It was because of their coordinators, because their defense took out Mahomes, and that's the point of betting the defense. So, like the Lions, I don't know if it was Dan Campbell's taking credit for what Ben Johnson did. Ben Johnson was there 2 years. They should have made the Super Bowl if they didn't have Dan Campbell as coach, and they were 15-2 and lost to Washington when Ben Johnson didn't really care about the game. because he was moving on to Chicago. Dan Campbell, it's like Belichick with Brady, right? Brady leaves, Belichick sucks. Uh, Ben Johnson leaves, and the Lions barely go 500, not beating any good teams, losing to J.J. McCarthy and Brosmer of Minnesota twice. Oh my God! Somehow they beat Chicago twice. They lost twice to Green Bay, and they lost all the big games. Philadelphia, Kansas City, any good team they played, they lost to. They beat Washington and the Giants. Oh boy, So that was it for Detroit. They really are not a good team. They beat bad teams. They lose to good teams, and I don't see them getting any better. Their draft picks are going to get worse and worse because they're going to have to draft 18 to 20 to 22 because they're good enough to win, but not good enough to get to the playoffs, but they're not bad enough to get the first pick anymore. So when they were drafting well, they had the second pick in the draft and the eighth pick and the 10th, they had very high draft picks, which are, very low, first 10, and that's gone. They're now going to draft in the 20s. Their GM sucks. He keeps drafting Alabama players. How's that worked out? So he doesn't know what he's doing. Doesn't get the concept, doesn't draft defense. They're very cheap, the Lions. They re-signed their guys. I don't know why. I guess they figured they couldn't replace them because they're too good. But that's it. Jared Goff, they don't realize is terrible. That's like Jalen Hurts. You don't realize Jalen Hurts sucks. You're not realizing that that Goff sucks. I mean, the Rams made a trade. Stafford, who was 5 years older than Goff, for Goff. Goff led you to the Super Bowl, and you got a field goal on New England. Goff's a choke. Goff only works when Todd Gurley's there. Goff only works for Detroit when you have a good offensive coordinator and you can run the ball. But now that you lost your offensive line, you can't run. Goff's terrible. Stafford's going for another Super Bowl here. Goff not. Goff choked against Pittsburgh and he choked against Minnesota. He shows no emotion. He's a loser, basically. So, he can complete a 15-yard pass on a crossing route to St. Thomas because they're playing a zone. Oh, great. So, I mean, that's the problem. The Lions will be nothing. Be careful thinking they're better than they are. They're not. I laugh when I'm in the gym and all these people have Lions sweatshirts and Lions hats. And I just feel like sorry for them. Like, yeah, you've been scammed. They're not that good. You know how many Lions stuff I own? Yeah, 0. I wouldn't waste my money on if I want to buy an NFL thing, I'm buying like Joe Montana or the Steelers or the Raiders or something I'm buying a team, not the Lions. How many Super Bowls have they won? Oh yeah, 0. So this is the problem you're struggling with. Josh Allen, good quarterback. Nick's much better than you think. Purdy, okay. Darnold, choke. Stafford, much better. And Caleb, still Stroud, a choke. And Drake May, all he did was run last week. So I don't know what you do. We'll see who wins between. Well, May should win. He's probably better than Stroud, but he's not all that. And Stafford's the best Stafford and Allen are the two best quarterbacks. So if you're thinking LA Buffalo, because of the quarterback, you got to fill in the defense, and their defenses, they're not very good. If you play defense, it's Seattle and the winner of the Houston New England game. So we'll see how it shakes out. So far, the best defense, Jacksonville 17, lost because they didn't have a quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence, he really stinks. Philadelphia with the 15 defense, they didn't have a quarterback, Jalen Hurts. They lost the 49ers. San Diego, New England, 18 defenses, and New England win. And that's the thing. They overrate the quarterbacks. Oh, Lamar is the best. Really? It's based on winning, and he doesn't win. What the fuck are you talking about? All right. Anyway, that's that. Let's see. Canes in 14.5. Well, it depends. I don't know if anybody's going to beat Indiana the way they look, the way they killed Oregon, and Alabama. I really don't want to bet against them. Miami at home, maybe. I think over is the only way to go in the game versus that. Maybe you take Indy -2, but they could lose. I think it'll end up being a close game. I don't think they'll blow them out. I don't think they'll get the turnovers. I think it'll be a close game. So that's it. Let's see. So we've looked at the market. Would you buy a car? How to buy a car? Same way we buy steak. We go to the different grocery stores. We see what they're selling for. We wait for a sale, and then we buy a bunch at sale price. If it's too expensive, it depends on your situation. If you can afford the 35,000 and you really want the Audi, you'll probably pay. I would offer 27, 28. But I got to hear the discussion and who's selling it and why, and do they need it? Is it a dealership or an individual? With an individual, I'm more likely to go 27, 28,000. If it's a dealership, I'm probably going 30,000 and listening. Like when the Toyota guy goes, we can't sell any Camrys at 35,000. And I told him, you got to sell it. You have no market there. I did this to him. I said, here's the market, 25,000. That's where I bought it. And you're 35. Who are you selling to? There's nobody home. So in the Audi world, is the market 33, 37? Is it a dealer? How badly do they need to sell? So you're waiting for people that need to sell, and you're going to get a lot of that because we are in massive inflation. We are in a recession. As people need money, they will sell, and they will sell for any price to take it. I need money, geez, I need money. I'll sell this for $10 because I need the money. That's when you get your things. But in other worlds, if you're smart like our class is, we buy those. We don't need money. We're making